Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles. We're going to do an update on this Palworld Pokemon lawsuit, right? So I did a video yesterday or the day before when the lawsuit first broke. For those of you who don't know, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are suing Palworld developer Pocket Pair over patent infringement, not copyright infringement. Right? That's kind of the one everybody thought that they would go after, but patent infringement. They're actually suing Pocket Pair, the developer of a game which is very similar to Pokemon, for patent infringement. Now, what did they patent? Nobody seemed to know at the time, but apparently some people have been doing some sleuthing, and they've turned up a document, a patent application for using balls to capture animals in a game. And apparently they filed this patent, I believe, a couple of years ago, but it just kind of worked its way through the system in Japan. I don't think it's made its way through the system here in the US, but again, Nintendo Japan is suing Pocket Pair Japan, so it's a Japanese thing. And we're going to talk about this because, yeah, the reactions so far have been mixed depending on where you stand with this game. Some people love Palworld and they love the fact that it's going to force Nintendo to finally evolve, no pun intended, Pokemon, because Pokemon's been very stale for years. Other people are like, well, it's a blatant ripoff. You know, I hope they sue them into oblivion, but they really didn't have anything other than, yeah, these games are very, very similar, and this is what Nintendo is hoping they're going to be able to use to take out Pocket Pair. Now, it is worth noting that Pocket Pair has teamed up with Sony. They actually teamed up with Sony to start a company to produce anime and license merchandise, and they're going to be launching it on the PS5, I guess, and all of that. So this theoretically could wind up being Pocket Pair and Sony versus Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. Some people are saying that Sony won't be involved at all. I don't know. I mean, is it possible? Because I don't know if Pocket Pair has pockets deep enough to fight Nintendo, but Sony definitely does. And Sony's not afraid of Nintendo. They stuck it to them with the PlayStation. They don't give a shit. They'll take on Nintendo if they think there's money to be found, right? I don't know what's going to happen, guys. Lots of people have opinions on this. Some American lawyers are weighing in on it, but I'm like, this is a Japanese lawsuit, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, unless they're up to date on their Japanese law, which is very, very possible. But I'm not sure which way this is going to go. We're just going to report on what's going on. We're going to talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Yeah, so this is coming from PC Gamer. Is Nintendo suing the Palworld devs over a patent on throwing balls? Yeah, apparently if you can patent throwing balls, Nintendo's going to sue Little League too, I guess. I don't know. Opening the Pal Sphere-shaped Pandora's box of patent filing. So this is the initial filing, and I think it's Stephen Totilo. I don't know. He's a gaming journal, right? He worked at Axios, MTV News, and oh no, Kotaku EIC. Oh no. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Anyway. Here is the patent from 2021. He dug this up. We got a character here looking to throw a ball to catch a dinosaur or something. He said, if I'm reading this correctly, here's a Nintendo patent from 2021 for a video game character throwing an item to catch a monster while in the field. The patent is registered to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. We still don't know which patents they're claiming Palworld is infringing on. So we need to be clear. Nintendo hasn't come out and said what Palworld is infringing on exactly. And that's what's so damn weird about this case. They're just like, oh yeah, you infringed on our patents. Now, apparently Pocket Pair has been made aware of what the issue is, but it has not been made public yet, I guess. That's my understanding of it, right? Worth noting, this is a patent application in the U.S. Don't think it's been assigned yet. It's unclear of its status in Japan. Here's the status in Japan. It was considered valid in 2023. Again, this is a Japanese court case, not an American court case. It's two Japanese companies. Also, if you find my reporting about video games interesting, go to GameFile. Okay, so he's got GameFile. So this person here, B1Neezer says, do I understand it correctly? Nintendo made Pokemon, but never patented the capturing mechanic. In 2021, Palworld was announced. Nintendo sees it as possible competition, files a patent in 2022 for the capturing mechanic, and is now suing Palworld's developers. The patent talks about how capturing used to be done during battles, and here they're patenting a system to do it while encountering creatures out in the field. Okay. It's presented as an innovation of an old system. Well, I mean, the whole concept, right? And people correctly brought up Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball series, like the whole concept of stuffing stuff inside capsules. You know, the Pokeballs are basically gotcha capsule toys, right? Japanese capsule toys. So, I don't know. I mean, this is gonna be a really hard one to prove. But some people are like, Nintendo's got the money. Even if they're not in the right, they've got the money to be able to wear down Pocket Pair again, unless they're new pals. Haha. Sony kicks them some money or something to kick Nintendo in the balls, because Sony loves to kick Nintendo in the balls. Yes, it was filed in 2021, and this is the patent. Yeah, and this is kind of the flow chart of how it works. And yeah, in Japan, it's been granted. So this person says, after sifting through the patents, their best guess. I believe it was Steven. I'll give credit where credit is due. I believe it was Steven that turned up the patent, because as of a day or two ago, nobody seemed to have that. Anyway, PC Gamer says there's patent language ahead. You've been warned. The patent in question appears to be from a series of applications from Pokemon Legends, which broke from tradition by letting the player encounter, battle, and catch Pokemon in the overworld. Nintendo's successful patent filing managed to gain protections on what it claimed was an innovation in the formula illustrated via some delightful stick figures, representative drawings showing a mock battle between a T-Rex and a pterodactyl, where before players could only battle and catch creatures. During fights, Nintendo had devised a new storage medium storing game program, game system, game apparatus, and game processing method, allowing for players to perform an action of launching to either catch a field character or cause a fighting character to fight against a field character. This hasn't been done before. I feel like this has been done before in games. And if it's just for the method of capturing. So if Nintendo, just theoretically, Nintendo wins this, that means that no other video game developed in Japan can use the capturing system. And that's going to set a pretty dangerous precedent. You know, again, yesterday or the day before, I was talking about Data East, and they were trying to keep, I think it was Epic's, they were trying to keep them from creating, and this is like 1980 something, but they were trying to keep them from creating a competitor to Karate Champ, because Epic's had their own karate game. And the judge is like, there's only so much you can do with karate, right? You can't copyright or trademark or patent karate, and graphics are very limited. And yeah, the games are similar, but there's not much you can do about it. And it's the same with 2D fighting games. I mean, if Capcom could patent 2D fighting games, they would have done it by now. I guarantee it. They would have had the market cornered on 1v1 fighting games, or even, tag team fighting games. Because I want to say the Versus series was the first to have the kind of the tag team option for characters. And then, like Tekken started doing it, and, like every fighting game does it now. And I think they would have absolutely patented that if you could do it. Nintendo, what are they going to do next? Like patent platformers? Like, well, we created Super Mario Brothers back in 1985, and we invented the side-scrolling platformer. Could you imagine if they did this back in the 90s? Like, yeah, you can't release Sonic the Hedgehog because having a side-scrolling platform game in which a cartoon character collects metal objects as they scroll from left to right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because Sonic and Mario are very similar games, just one's a lot faster. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know, guys. This is weird. I'm no lawyer. I just think this is like, I think you're really pushing it. Is Namco going to say you can't make anything? Didn't Namco try something like you can't make any kind of Pac-Man clones or something? I don't know. Nintendo's successful patent filing managed to gain protections on what it claimed was an innovation in the formula, illustrated via the characters. Yeah. So, in other words, Nintendo successfully secured a patent on throwing Pokeballs at stuff while you're running around. Well, I'm a big fan of performing an action of launching a fighting character that fights against a field character. Been doing that my whole life. It's a concept so broad, Nintendo could be accused of patent trolling for claiming it. Unfortunately for Pocket Pair, Nintendo has claimed it, and Palworld's take on it might cut things a bit too close. Yeah, if only you threw cubes. Yeah, if only you threw cubes at monsters that didn't look suspiciously like Pokemon knockoffs. I love Palworld, I do, but it is what it is, right? In Palworld, you gather orbs to throw at creatures and try to capture them. The orb wobbles as the creatures struggle against them, playing a jaunty success jingle if you succeed, and then you throw the orbs to the player together. Yeah, just like, not Pokeballs though, they're Pal Spheres. It's not McDonald's, it's McDowell's. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, they said, while the cheeky rebranding might be, and I'm not touching you tier of legal shielding, it's probably enough to dodge a copyright claim. However, it's another matter when the PAL spheres are almost indistinguishable from their patent-protected Pokemon Legends counterparts. Why couldn't we have like a Luigi's Mansion type backpack and you could suck the monsters up into that, like a ghost trap or a PAL trap or something? I mean, look, they're already cutting it pretty damn close, and there are so many other games. That's the thing. The reason Nintendo went after them is because they were so successful, right? There have been lots of very, very Pokemon-esque games created over the last couple of decades. Several that were I believe were actually a lot closer to Pokemon than Palworld is. It's just they didn't sell however many millions of copies, you know, and this is a legit threat to Nintendo. It is, and especially that they're teaming up with Sony, their dreaded enemy, Sony. Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. So this is an article from Paul Tassi, and I'm going to do a video talking about the Paul Tassi situation. Paul Tassi has decided to be the contrarian all of a sudden. I don't know what happened to him. I used to actually cite him in videos and say, hey, this guy's got his head screwed on straight. He seems like he knows what's up. And just in the last, I've noticed, just in the last couple months, he's kind of gone off the rails, and he's gone out of his way to start attacking YouTubers and Twitter personalities and stuff like that. And I think, personally, I think it's a threat. I think he's threatened because he's like the nerd writer at Forbes, and YouTubers and people like Grums are eating his lunch. You know, that's literally like people are watching videos about his articles, not reading his articles, and he's getting pissed. Start a YouTube channel, Paul. I mean, start a YouTube channel. But he has his take on it. And he's like, they should be very, very afraid of Nintendo. I think they would be. And they might be I'll be honest, they might be forced to make some changes to it, but I don't think Nintendo is going to completely destroy them. Again, there's a lot of money at stake. Sony's thrown in with them, and this whole thing would have happened. Like, Sony knew when they signed a deal with Pocket Pair, they knew that Nintendo was sniffing around for a lawsuit. They knew, and they still didn't care. Because if Sony was really that worried about it, or they thought that Pocket Pair was going to disappear, they would have been like, yeah, we're not signing a deal with you because you're not going to be around in 6 months, 9 months, a year. But they know they're going to be around. So I have to wonder, is Sony going to buy Pocket Pair? Could they buy Pocket Pair? Probably. Maybe. I don't know. If they're going exclusive, or they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're doing all this anime and stuff with them. They might just buy him. They might just buy him out. And then it's going to be Nintendo versus Sony. And like I said, Sony can fight Nintendo. They've done it before. They've literally stabbed Nintendo in the back before and laughed. Like, they don't really care. Sony doesn't give a shit. Again, they're just looking at this like, yeah, finally we have a Nintendo competitor for PlayStation. There we go. Palworld should be afraid of Nintendo's Death Star-like lawsuit, coming from Paul Tassi. He says Nintendo owns a vast network of patents of all stripes, and some digging has turned up this one, which at least he gave credit to Steven there. In an interview with Serkan Toto on 404 Media, the CEO of a Japanese consulting firm, Canton Games, has dire predictions for Palworld's chances here, given Nintendo's history with this sort of thing. Nintendo has, as I mentioned in my tweet, a legendary track record. I think they have never lost a lawsuit they initiated themselves. But they also initiate lawsuits against small entities, right? And again, if it was just Pocket Pair on its own, I think maybe. But I do believe, and people are saying, well, Sony can't get involved. Maybe not above board, but they might kick them some money for legal fees. And like I said, then maybe they'll buy them out. And they'll just buy them out and be like, you know what, we're going to acquire Pocket Pair, and then Nintendo can deal with us. And if we got to change it to PAL cubes instead of PAL spheres, well, we can do that. Anyway, this Japanese lawyer went on to talk about how Nintendo sued an extremely popular mobile game in Japan, Whitecap Project, which wasn't copying any specific game, but they showed up claiming 6 patent violations, one of which included a confirmation screen after sleep mode. That's in so many games. As in when a device wakes up and asks you if you want to resume. Nintendo owns that concept. What? Nintendo owns that concept? Okay. And another was about a character hiding behind a tree and creating a shadow so you know where that character is. Seriously. Okay, if this were a US, see, this is the thing. This is a Japanese case. If this were a US case, they'd be laughed out of the courtroom. It'd be like, what the hell? What the hell? But this is some serious copyright trolling. That resulted in a $20 million settlement and licensing fees paid to Nintendo. It didn't shut the game down, but it's clear that Palworld has probably been snagged in some web of Nintendo patents they might not have even known existed, and many more may even be out there, right? Obscure ones. Throwing a ball to catch a monster. I don't think anyone knew Nintendo had that. We had no idea what the end result's going to be, which may in fact be when Nintendo wins, given its legal pass. Palworld reportedly earned $500 million by March of 2024. So some measure of not horrific settlement could allow them to stay alive, though that would depend on what licensing fees they have to pay Nintendo. Nintendo looks absolutely terrible in this situation, like a common patent troll who is grabbing a successful game for what is likely going to be obscure patents that may end up sounding ridiculous. This isn't going to be Palworld stealing code or assets. Maybe they showed someone's shadow behind a tree. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Nintendo looks really bad in this. Like, I get it. I get it that they're pissed. I get it that this game is basically a knockoff of Pokemon on some level, but really it has more to do, I believe, with Ark Survival Evolved. So here's the thing. So when's Microsoft going to start trolling people and saying, hey, you can't make crafting games? We own Minecraft, and if there's any crafting in your game, we're going to sue you for it. I mean, this is like there are entire genres out there of games that could be completely obliterated if like these kinds of patents are allowed to be upheld. Again, though, we're dealing with Japanese law and not American law. I don't know what's going to happen. I do believe that people are, and very few people were mentioning the Sony connection. I think that something will happen. Even if they get, hit with a $20 or $50 million fine, someone will be like, here, put it toward the buyout. We're going to buy you. And then we're going to compete. We'll make a couple of tweaks to the game, and then we're going to compete with Nintendo head-to-head with these monster-catching games. That would be my opinion on what could potentially happen. Or they might have to sell themselves anyway, because it'll be too broke-ass to continue on their own if Nintendo wins. But who knows? Who knows, guys? So there we go. It's all about balls. Cannot wait until they sue Little League. There we go. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later. Join the reef. Go to clownfish-.com. That's clownfish-.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfish-.com. Thank you so much for the support.